What we have coming up. Donald Trump becomes the 45th president of the United States of America. Hillary Clinton vows to work with American President-elect Trump. And Trump's presidential win sparks tense protests across major U.S. cities. Donald Trump has stunned America and the world, riding a wave of populist resentment to defeat Hillary Clinton, and in so doing, becoming the 45th president of the United States.
From the moment he announced his run for president, Donald Trump has been one of the most controversial candidates in decades. And now the controversy is headed to the White House. In an upset to the political establishment, Donald J. Trump has defeated Hillary Clinton to become the president-elect.
Now it's time for America to bind the wounds of division. Have to get together. To all Republicans and Democrats and independents across this nation, I say it is time for us to come together as one united people.
A billionaire businessman and TV personality who's never held political office, Trump is a twice-divorced father to 5 children, 3 of whom helped him with his campaign. His fortune was built on that of his millionaire father, but while Trump promised to run the country like his businesses, several of them have gone bust.
Make sure he never has the chance to bankrupt America the way he bankrupted his businesses.
His policies are best described as populist. Supporters loved his promises to build a wall along the Mexican border, to end free trade deals, which Trump says shortchange America, and to stand up military on the international stage.
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States. Yes, we're going to have the wall, and yes, Mexico is going to pay for the wall 100%.
Tired of the gridlock in Washington, many voters like Donald Trump for his outlandish comments and outsider appeal.
That a political newcomer came onto the stage was shocking in terms of his success. He was actually able to read the American electorate better than career politicians were able to.
His proposals were questioned by Western leaders, and his lack of diplomatic experience caused many to be concerned. Russia was accused of helping his campaign by hacking rival Hillary Clinton's emails. Trump weathered several scandals which would have sunk other candidates, including the highly controversial release of a video which appeared to show him bragging about sexually assaulting women. The master self-publicist has again made sure that he'll be at the center of the story by shaking democratic tradition and becoming president.
Now let's take a look at the presidential results, beginning with a look at the Electoral College. And you can see that score there, 290 to 232. And I think it's important to point out that at the time of the broadcast, some of the voting had not actually finished yet. But that doesn't matter because the magic number is 270, as we have explained as per the Electoral College. 270, that's the winning number. Trump obviously went past that number. The popular vote was something interesting, 47.5 to 47.7. There you can see it in the millions, 59.6 million to 59.9 million. Hillary Clinton actually winning the popular vote, so more Americans actually voted for her. However, Donald Trump is the man who's on his way to the White House. We'll try and explain that and exactly how that came about and how that works for you a little bit later on. So that's a look at the popular vote as well as a look at the Electoral College. And to certainly elaborate on that, Wits lecturer Tinashe Chuchu is with us once again. Tinashe, let's begin with that debate between the Electoral College and the popular vote. I think this is the 5th time in U.S. history that it's happened that the person winning the popular vote doesn't actually win the White House. Where do you stand on that debate?
If you look at this millennium, it's actually the 2nd time with the Gore v. Bush. So usually what happens is each state is allocated a certain number of Electoral College votes. And what happened in this cycle was that Hillary Clinton actually won more human votes, but she won more human votes in states where she had a certain cap. For instance, in California, even if she won it by 1 million votes, she was still going to get the same Electoral College votes. But what helped Trump win was that he received Electoral College votes in swing states, and it mattered the most.
So it's a fair system in your view.
Yes.
And as we were discussing on a previous occasion, what it does, that electoral college system, it means that somebody living in a small state like North Dakota or Montana actually has a say in the U.S. election and the eventual outcome, because otherwise the candidates would only be campaigning in places like California, New York, Texas, and Florida.
Exactly. And to add to that, a small state like Vermont would also have a say. For instance, you can look at large states like Florida. It had 29 electoral college votes. But a state that's as small as New Hampshire actually has 4, which means that those 4 electoral college votes could actually determine who is going to be president or not. So I think it's a fair system. It gives smaller states a say.
And that's fair enough as far as we're concerned. Now, nobody saw it coming, but it is the way that it is. President-elect Donald Trump. How did you react to it when you realized, because obviously he hadn't declared victory yet, but you could see it was coming?
Yes, especially when I saw Trump taking Ohio. I said to myself, no president has ever won without Ohio. But let's wait and see. Once he took Florida, Pennsylvania, it was over.
How did it come to be that Trump won places like Pennsylvania and Wisconsin that haven't voted for the Republican candidate since the 1980s?
So what happened is in the Rust Belt region, that's where you have a part of Pennsylvania, Indiana, that's where you also have Michigan, Wisconsin. There were a lot of working class white voters in that region who lost their jobs. They were in the steel industry, they were working in farms, they were working in the coal industry. What happened was they lost their jobs, and Trump had a simple message. He just said, I'll bring back your jobs. And at the same time, Hillary Clinton was saying, no, I'll give you different jobs. I'll give you maybe green jobs. And this was exactly what Obama was trying to do. So they said, no, we probably are going to buy Trump's message, because he promised them what they wanted. And that's how he was able to turn up such large numbers in the Rust Belt.
Pardon the pun, but it clearly is then a case of the promise of jobs trumping a wall on the Mexican border, or not allowing Muslim immigrants to come into the country.
Exactly, yes.
So where do we stand now? We have to envision President Trump now from the 20th of January 2017. He's already said that the first thing he'll do is repeal and replace Obamacare.
Yeah.
He does have the majority now in the House of Representatives as well as the Senate. That appears to be doable, doesn't it?
Very doable. And he's going to appoint a Supreme Court judge. So the Supreme Court will now tilt in favor of the conservatives. And he can easily remove Obamacare. But the problem is 20 million people are covered by Obamacare, and 20 million people can also determine who would be the next president. So we'll see what you'll do. Yes.
Does that mean that he's already in trouble come 2024? Because perhaps the first question when he announces that he's running for re-election is, excuse me, sir, where's the wall on the border?
Yes, where's the wall? And he has to have replaced Obamacare with something. Yes, yes.
Military is always an important aspect of any American president. He's, to quote him, will bomb the hell out of ISIS. Do you see that happening?
I think in terms of bombing ISIS, it's going to be quite interesting to see if he's going to follow through, because he also doesn't want to be a war president. And sometimes it's difficult to win re-election if you're a war president. Yes.
Talking about international relations as well, he has said that he believes he'll get on very well with Vladimir Putin. He's spoken about China. Things like TPP and NAFTA, CAFTA also come into the equation. What kind of an international president do you foresee Trump being?
If we take him at his word, NAFTA is gone, the TPP is gone, and with Putin, I'm sure he's probably going to have a good relationship with him. I think so.
Very interesting. I'd love to know what you think of this. Do you believe that the Russians actually interfered in the US election?
I think they might have interfered to a lesser extent, maybe during the primaries. But the general election, I don't think they could, because the voting machines were not connected to the internet. So they couldn't have hacked the system. And Trump won decisively. He won so many blue states. So I think he won fair and square.
Now, on that note, the Republicans, as of 20 January 2017, will have the White House, the House of Representatives, the Senate. Obviously, the Supreme Court is a big deal as well. They'll have more governors than the Democrats as well. 48 hours before the election, in fact 24 hours before Election Day, people were saying that the Republican Party is finished, it's going to split, we need to write its obituary. Turns out that maybe those statements could now be true of the Democratic Party. Where do you sit on this?
Exactly. I think, let's say, we now know who won, but let's say Trump had lost. Even if he had lost by 1 electoral college vote, they were going to say this party is gone, because a win is a win.
Yeah.
So I think the Democrats probably have to repackage their message to working class white Americans. Because if you think about it, Hillary Clinton had 29% of, actually she had over 80% of the Hispanic vote, because Trump had 29. She also had over 80% of the black votes. But the thing is, at the end of the day, working class white Americans determined who won the election. So I think they now have to have a message that speaks to them.
Very interesting. Tinashe, we'll continue the conversation in just a moment. Hillary Clinton has vowed to work with American President-elect Donald Trump and urged fellow Democrats to allow him the chance to lead the deeply divided country.
Hillary Clinton has vowed to work with American President-elect Donald Trump and urged fellow Democrats to allow him the chance to lead the deeply divided country.
I congratulated Donald Trump and offered to work with him on behalf of our country. I hope that he will be a successful president for all Americans. This is not the outcome we wanted or we worked so hard for, and I'm sorry that we did not win this election for the values we share and the vision we hold for our country.
With a row of American flags in the background, the Democratic nominee told supporters that her loss was painful, and it will be for a long time.
This is painful, and it will be for a long time. But I want you to remember this. Our campaign was never about one person or even one election. It was about the country we love and about building an America that's hopeful, inclusive, and big-hearted.
After the Republican Trump's stunning upset of the heavily favored Democrat Clinton, Democratic President Barack Obama and leading figures in the Republican Party who had struggled to make peace with Trump all vowed to move past the ugliness of an angry and sometimes personal campaign to seek common ground.
Her candidacy and nomination was historic and sends a message to our daughters all across the country that they can achieve at the highest levels of politics. Everybody is sad when their side loses an election. But the day after, we have to remember that we're actually all on one team. This is an intramural scrimmage. We're not Democrats first, we're not Republicans first. We are Americans first. We're patriots first. We all want what's best for this country. That's what I heard in Mr. Trump's remarks last night. That's what I heard when I spoke to him directly, and I was heartened by that.
Trump's victory marked a crushing end to Clinton's second quest to become the first woman president. She also failed in a White House bid in 2008.
Donald Trump's extraordinary U.S. election victory sent shockwaves across the world as opponents braced for a dangerous leader in the White House, while fellow populists hailed a ballot box revolution by ordinary people. Leaders around the world congratulated the newly elected president.
Donald Trump's extraordinary U.S. election victory sent shockwaves across the world on Wednesday as opponents braced for a dangerous leader in the White House, while fellow populists hailed a ballot box revolution by ordinary people.
We got a Trump! Very excited right now. Donald Trump has been saying the entire election how the polls were not telling the truth, how the media is biased against him, how everybody seems to be colluding against him, and boy, did we prove it tonight. Boy, do we prove it tonight. Donald Trump has officially become the 45th president of the United States of America, and everybody here in New York, we should all be hyped up because the United States is about to become a much better place for all Americans.
America's allies put a diplomatically brave face on the outcome of the deeply divisive presidential race, which has implications for everything from trade to human rights, climate change to global conflicts.
They spoke, they voted, and they picked Trump because they're tired of the corruption and the lies, and she's a criminal, and that's not what we need for this country.
A Trump slump hit some markets, with Asian stocks nosediving on concerns over the untested policies of the billionaire tycoon. Although European shares clawed back some of their initial losses and Wall Street was mixed. Despite market slumps, leaders across the world congratulated him.
Und Amerika sind durch Werte verbunden.
Germany and America share the values of democracy, freedom, respect for the rule of law, and human dignity, regardless of origin, skin color, religion, gender, sexual orientation, or political belief. On the basis of these values, I offer close cooperation to the future President of the United States of America, Donald Trump.